It remains one of Scottish football's biggest mysteries. Why can the only proven goal scorer in the entire country not get regular game time for his national team? Hopefully today, guys, we can find out. Welcome back to Fog Football. We put up for a poll, why can't Lawrence Shankland get game time for Scotland as we approach the 2024 Euros? We're struggling for goals up front. Now, we've got players from the midfield that can score goals, your McGinns, your McTominays. Those guys can contribute. Those guys can score. But up front, we don't have it. We have Dykes and Adams who get the odd goal here and there, but we need a goal scorer. What we need is a Lawrence Shankland, because he is a goal scorer. But for whatever reason, he can't get game time. He can't get picked. Why is that? Hopefully, we can answer it right here, right now. 585 of you guys voted. And in first place, it was Shankland needs to leave Hearts. So 47% of you believe that the reason he can't get game time for Scotland is because he plays for Hearts. Now, Craig Gordon played for Hearts and he was the Scotland #1 before he got injured. So I'm not sure if that's the case, or is it maybe different for a striker? Do you need to be more impressive as a striker? Do you need to be scoring your goals at a higher level in order for Steve Clarke to pick you? I mean, Shankland, I think, plays at a pretty good level in Scotland. He's been playing European games as well, and in the Europa Conference League, Europa League qualifiers. So I think Shankland's been doing enough to get picked for Scotland personally, and his goals alone should be getting him picked. But 47% of you believe it's a problem at Hearts and that he needs to leave and potentially move to a bigger team or a better league or something like that. In second place, 31% of you believe that Steve Clarke hasn't got a clue. And, well, I never really criticised Steve Clarke because he is the man and he's got us to 2 European Championships back to back, and he's got us looking like the best team that we've had in fucking decades. I've no doubt about that. But when it comes to Lawrence Shankland, I am tempted to believe that he doesn't have a clue. I think this is one decision that he has gotten wrong. I think he needs to pick Shankland. I don't know why he's not doing it. I think he needs to man up, and I mean, you can make a case that Shankland is behind Dykes or whatnot, maybe behind Adams, but when you see Shankland behind the likes of Jacob Brown, and I don't give a shit if he's a Premier League footballer or not, the guy sucks. Shankland minimum should be third choice for me, but for some reason Clarke doesn't think so. In third place, we had, with 11%, Scotland have much better options, which I don't think is the case, but 11% of you people do. Maybe you prefer Dykes, maybe you prefer Adams. I do think with Dykes we play good as a team. I think Dykes brings out a lot in the team. He works hard. His build-up play is good, link-up play is good. I'm not denying that, but he doesn't score the goals that Shankland scores. And finally, in last place with the least amount of votes, which is good to see because I think it just goes to show that at least the majority of the subscribers here have a little bit of knowledge, because they know that Shankland is good enough, but apparently 10% of you guys believe that he isn't good enough, which I think is shocking. I mean, you're only as good as the competition that you're against. And I mean, we're not saying Shankland's world class by any means, but when you compare him to the other strikers that Scotland have, then he definitely is good enough. So that 10% to say Shankland isn't good enough, very strange. I don't quite understand it. But you know what? Let's look at the comments. Let's go. Mike said the last two. Shankland needs to leave Hearts. Steve Clarke hasn't got a clue. That's what the majority would say. Janice says Shankland is Scottish and should trump the other two who are English. I mean, that's a decent point, I guess. But for me, Dykes has chosen to play for Scotland, and he's technically Australian. Jacob Brown and Shea Adams are, have English blood or whatever, but they've chosen to play for Scotland. I think once somebody chooses, and I'm not a massive fan of the whole grandparent or whatever rule, but once somebody chooses to play for Scotland, I think we need to consider them Scottish. I don't think it does any good suggesting that you should be lower down the picking order because you're not 100% Scottish or you're not naturally Scottish or whatnot. So I get what you're saying. I'm not a fan of it, but that rule is in there, so therefore we just need to utilise it. And I don't think that's the reason Shankland should be ahead of the other two. I think he should be ahead of them because he's better. I don't think it should be because he is, fully Scottish or whatnot. David says because he loves the famous Glasgow Rangers. Leanne Campbell that died in 2012, the end. I mean, Jesus Christ, we're trying to talk about Shankland and we're still bringing up Celtic and Rangers. Mick1888 said, anyone saying Clark hasn't got a clue or nothing but brain dead? I mean, yeah, overall he's definitely got a clue, but I think Clark's wrong in this one. I do. Cell88 said he's not good enough. Anybody can score against crap Rangers in our woeful Celtic defence. England put Scotland in their place. Scotland won't win a game at the Euros. Well, what a negative bastard you are, mate. The guy is good enough, and we'll see that. We will see that. So I guess that means that Furahashi's pish then. Furuhashi must be a shite player, because even though he scored 27 league goals, was it 27, was it league goals or overall? Either way, all Furahashi's goals last season came against shite teams. All he did was score against the crap Rangers and score against even crapper teams in the league, so Furuhashi must be a crap player then. I take it Celtic must be crap, even though they've won all these major titles. I guess they're only beating crap teams in Scotland, so Celtic are crap too by that logic. Makes no sense. Hero2699 said Shankland supports Rangers, that's why. I mean, is that why though? Janice says so does Ryan Jack. He would rather play a left footer at right back than play a Rangers supporting Patterson and all. I see what you're saying, but I mean, I think Hickey. I think I would rather have Hickey at right. I mean, Hickey's much better than Patterson. No disrespect to Patterson. I think Patterson is a good player, but Hickey is a much better player. Hickey's different quality, in my opinion. And the fact that Hickey can't really play at left back because we have Roberts in there, I think it does make sense to play Hickey at right back. But I think Patterson's a good second choice right back. And if Robertson's out, then I've no issues putting Hickey at left back and then playing Patterson at right back. But I think if we have a full strength team to choose from, I've no issue with Hickey playing right back instead of Patterson, because I think he is a better player. Jimmy Duff said, Shankland is a Rangers supporter. Everybody knows what Clark thinks of us. Don't talk piss, you melt. I mean, is that really it, though? I'm not convinced. I don't think Steve Clark just wouldn't pick the guy because he supports Rangers. I don't believe that for a second. Matthew Mel said he's not mobile enough for the way they play. Decent player, good brain, but it's just a lack of mobility, nothing else. I think Shankland's underrated when it comes to his movement. I think his overall ability and link-up play, and I think he is underrated. He's considered this like poacher. He's considered this guy that just sits in the box, and I mean that's not true. His build-up play, his link-up play, his movement, his reading of the game, it's all very good. I think Shankland is underrated. Mobility-wise, I mean, yeah, he could be better, he could be faster, he could be more agile, he could probably move more and work harder, I'm not denying that, but he's not just a target man, like a lot of people think that he is. The Gear Laugher said, Shankland is lazy, doesn't track back. I attend every game where you see what's going on in the pitch. Dykes and Adams drag players out of position, they lose the ball, they go and get it back. Shankland loses the ball, stands around scratching his arse. Those players got us to Germany, why should any of them lose out? All you complain and bet you sit at home watching the game, unable to see the whole pitch and the work rate of Dykes and Adams. Alright, I'm not saying Shankland should go over Dykes and Adams, I'm not saying that, but he should go over Jacob Brown. He 100% should be ahead of Jacob Brown in the pecking order. M66CBH says, Shankland is quality, Clark is a muppet. For a shite team, we might not see a better team for us in a while, so he needs to get the finger out. I agree. Look, I'm not saying Shankland should be the starting player. I'm not saying that. I think it's Dykes' role. I think it's Dykes' position to lose. But for me, Shankland definitely should be in the squad, and he should be ahead of Jacob Brown. And I would probably put him ahead of Shea Adams as well. Michael Taylor said, love me a debate. Fantastic. I tend to agree with all our comments. He doesn't start matches because he doesn't play for the Mankey Mob back home or play down south. Would I take him to the Euros? Yes. I think Clark will take him in his final squad. Would he start? Don't think he will. I would imagine Dykes will start up front for us. I agree. 100% agree. I think it will be Dykes. I think if Shankland did play for Rangers or Celtic, the chances of him playing for Scotland would be higher. Unfortunately, there's this like club bias where the higher up you play, the bigger and better league or club you play for, then the more likely you are to play for the national team. It's unfortunate, but everyone is kind of stuck to that principle. Everyone kind of follows the same blueprint, so to speak. And if you do play in Scotland for a non-old firm club, you do find it more difficult to get into the Scotland team. Ah, the Manky Mob. Why do you follow Scotland, you bigoted little clown? Stick to England. Typical zombie fickle. Janice, he plays for the same team as Clark. Michael Taylor, question mark, question mark, question mark. Not quite sure what that means. Johnny D said, Shankland should be before Dykes for me. Forget all this loyalty to his favourites and guys that got us there, pish. All top nations and managers are ruthless, and he ain't afraid to play who's hot right now. Spain play 16 and 17-year-olds for fuck's sake, and they're top. That means they're dropping experienced world-class players. So Clark should take note and just pick the best team on what's happening now, rather than basing his opinions in the past. I agree. Loyalty is good, but we can't just pick players based on loyalty. We've got to be honest here, right? Some players have been loyal to Clark, but you can only be loyal to a certain extent. There's no point picking a player that you've been using for the past 4 or 5 years if you clearly have a new player that is better than them. And I think that is... I mean, when I look at the Scotland team and I see Lewis Ferguson not getting picked before like an Armstrong or a McLean, that baffles me. That really does baffle me, because those guys are winding down. Those guys are coming towards the end of their careers. They're not exactly impressing at club level, whereas you get Lewis Ferguson, who's pretty much banging in the goals every week in Serie A and getting linked to top moves, to top clubs. So for me, I think Lewis Ferguson should be above those two, for example. Celt said Spain won't beat any of the big teams. Janice says Dykes might not score goals, but he does put in a shift. I don't see why he can't be brought on as a sub, though. I agree, I think Shankland should be a super sub. But bring him on as a sub with like 20-25 minutes to go. Forget this like 2-minute pish at the end. Bring him on with enough time to actually make a difference. Bet on that when the time comes. If you're so sure, you will get great odds. But I have Dykes in my squad, but for me, Shankland should start before him. Magical Daisy said Shankland is far better than Brown. They had on. Mental, he gave him a game after that goal. Mental that he never gave him a game, sorry, after that goal. Yeah, I mean, Shankland is better than Brown 100%. Leslie Ferguson says, he's a Rangers supporter. Clark doesn't like us. Ryan Jack is the same. Okay, let's see what the comments say here. I'm sure it'll be a lot of Rangers Celtic shite. Are you suggesting Ryan Jack should be starting for Scotland ahead of far better players? McGregor, McTominay and McGinn. He plays for the smallest club of all three and is a lesser player, which I guess is kind of true. Stuart Elliott says, who comes out to let him in? AR says, no one likes you. Okay, Colin Williams says, McTominay, McGinn are quality, but McGregor is pure pish. McGregor just runs side to side on the pitch, doesn't do the hard graft that Jack, McGinn or McTominay do. Colin Williams here might be a Rangers fan. Who is the smaller team you're referring to? Certainly isn't Rangers, that's for sure. Okay, Colin Williams is definitely a Rangers fan. So what's the 3 players here? We've got Jack. Who are we talking about? Let's see. McGregor, McTominay, McGinn, and Ryan Jack. So McTominay, United, McGinn, Aston Villa, McGregor, Celtic, and Ryan Jack, Rangers. Are Rangers a smaller club than the other 3? Debatable. I mean, it's debatable. I'm not too sure. Of the 3 players listed, they all play for bigger teams than Rangers, so it certainly is true. Also, McGregor wears the armband for Scotland when McGinn and Robertson aren't on the pitch. Simply put, he's the best midfielder based in Scotland who is Scottish. That's a fair claim. That's a fair claim. I think McGregor probably is the best Scottish midfielder playing in Scotland. I don't think he's the best Scottish midfielder overall, and I think he's actually a step below the likes of McGinn. But in terms of Scotland, I think McGregor is the best Scottish midfielder playing in Scotland, and I think he is better than Ryan Jack. I don't think that can be debated, to be fair. Should Ryan Jack get more game time, though? I would say absolutely, but is he better than Callum McGregor? In my opinion, he's not. George Moffat says, think you'll find that he is a Terrier, will play his Terrier buddies. Jack is better than McGregor. Is Jack really better? Is Ryan Jack really better than McGregor, though? I'm not too sure. Ryan Jack doesn't even start for his own club, averaging less than 30 appearances per season over his entire career. McGregor averages over 60 per season for Celtic. He also plays at a higher level and is an all-round better footballer player than Ryan Jack. The proof's in the pudding. No Scotland manager prior to Clark even deemed him good enough for a start. If anything, he owes Clark for allowing him some bench time. It's not even debatable. I think I've got to agree with LF67, Hail Hail 28, I think. I mean, that's pretty much spot on, I think. I mean, come on. I don't think Ryan Jack's better than Callum McGregor. I don't even think Callum McGregor's great, but I think that Callum McGregor's better than Ryan Jack. Leanne Campbell, don't talk about a treble winning captain like that, wee man. Yeah, I know, I mean, I think there's some Rangers fans here just downplaying McGregor. I mean, McGregor's a good player. I think he is overrated, 100%, but he is a great player for Scotland, a great player for Celtic. John Mabry, to be honest, Scotland are pish in defence. Sander Clark is never an international goalkeeper. He is too heavy and slow, and without Robertson and Tierney and Gunn, they're awful at the back. Shankland, I would give a shot to see what they can do. Why not? He could also do with losing a bit of weight. Calling Shankland fat there, are you? Stuart Elliott nearly had their full first team defence out of that comment. I'm going to have a guess and say that you're under 23. Obviously, the team is weaker, but before Clark, Scotland get beat the last 2 games. Possibly true. The Gear Lava said they've conceded 8 goals, 3 more than Spain. You reckon that's pish? Do your 10 matches are watched on the telly? I'm guessing telly of you think 8 goals conceded is pish. I'm confused. I mean, whether you watch on the telly or whether you watch in the stadium, that doesn't change the fact that how many goals you concede is either good or pish. I mean, I just don't get that. Anyway, John Mabry said, I've been watching Scotland before you were born, when qualifying for World Cups was the norm for Scotland and beating stronger nations was nothing new, so don't start preaching to me about Scotland. You have seen nothing, son. The Gear Lava said, I was at Italia 90, Sweden 92 and France 98. I've attended over 200 games, don't start getting high and mighty with me. We've conceded 1 goal less than Italy, 4 than Spain. We're qualified and you're saying the team's pish. How many games have you attended in the qualifying? I agree, the team's not pish. I don't think attending games or watching on the telly, I don't think that makes a difference in whether or not your opinion is the team's pish. I think if you think the Scotland team is pish, you're wrong. Whether you attend every match or whether you're an armchair fan. If you think the Scotland team is pish, then you're wrong in my opinion, because we've proven now over a consecutive amount of years that we're not pish. Have we had a couple of pish performances over the last couple of years? Then maybe there's 1 or 2 in there, I'm not denying that. But overall, as a unit and as a team, we're not shite. We're actually pretty good under Clark. And Brian Leslie says, because he doesn't play for either of the Bigot Brothers or down south. Ah yes, the good old Bigot Brothers, Rangers and Celtic. The fan Pablo said, Hearts fans are at least the second most bigoted in the league. That's wrong. That is fucking wrong. Let's give that a wee down from here. LF67HH said, in real terms, he plays for a poor team and lacks fitness. Colin Williams, and Celtic fans are the number 1 bigoted in the league. Fact and disrespectful. User account says not even close. So there you go, guys. Overall, what is the reason Shankland doesn't get in the team? Is it Hearts? I don't know. Maybe Clark just thinks Adams, Dykes and Brown are better. That could be the case. But I personally think if Shankland played at a higher level, he would be higher than 4th in the pecking order. That's just my opinion. I think even if he moved to Celtic or Rangers and still played in Scotland, I think that would put him higher in the pecking order. But I guess the only way we'll find out will be if he actually leaves Hearts. So yeah, I think Shankland should definitely be in the squad. I think he will be in the squad. I can't imagine Clark would only take 3 strikers. I think he will take 4. And if he does take 4, then Lawrence Shankland would be extremely unlucky to miss out on that. Anyway, guys, that's it. We'll catch you in the next one. Been Fog Football. Thanks for watching. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and until next time, peace.